Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Well, hello. Welcome back. Mark did that. He put, I think it makes it look worse. These are our windows that we're putting up in our deck. And he put a scarf that we had hanging around, a table scarf thing. Anyway, Facebook's working. Yay! Amber's over here. I'm glad you said that. Hi, Francesca, too. Francesca, I took your idea. I think you had this idea yesterday about adding, she had this idea about using our Crave water, and that is the lemon flavored L-glutamine that I told you about that has, it has a little bit of stevia in it, MCT oil, and of course, citric acid. It's delicious. Tastes like lemonade. She said, mix it with Pellegrino and see how that tastes. I said, well, okay, let's try that. I went one step further. I added chia seeds. Look at that. They all fell to the bottom. But at the minute that I used them, they were all just swirling around. And I used the chilled ones. But let me tell you something. You remember Fresca? This tastes like Fresca. So good. It's one scoop. I put it in this big, I love this big Pilsner glass. And then at the end, I'm just going to get a little treat of some chia seeds. I'm so easily entertained. But anyway, you can find our Crave water. And by the way, you need this in your life because this is a great way to get L-glutamine in a refreshing beverage, especially this time of year. Am I right? Anyway, you can find it at savingdinner.com/Crave water. That's where we have it. And I'll tell you something, this is the tastiest stuff. I'm so pleased with it because for me, finding something to drink that isn't lethal and terrible is a big deal. So Francesca, thanks for that idea. That was a really good idea. Hello, Catherine and Anne and Kathy. Good to have you here. I'm going to try not to guzzle this, by the way. Everybody needs to know about it, though. I'm going to call it Fresca, Fiber Fresca, because all of those chia seeds in there. What do you think of that idea? I like that idea. I got together yesterday with my daughter, Caroline. You know Caroline. She lives really close by in Hendersonville, and it's so nice to have your daughter close. She came in and we sat down and we mapped out a whole bunch of cooking videos that we're going to do and get done. So watch for that. We got some new content that we're rolling out. A couple of other neat ideas. So anyway, just watch for it. We've got some cool stuff going. You need to know also about our supplement of the week is Crave Crusher. Now, when you're crushing cravings, first thing, line of defense, get your Crave water or put some L-glutamine in your smoothie or whatever. You know, we just need that 4 grams of L-glutamine floating around in our system. It really does the trick to just snap you out of your cravings trance. You know what I mean? Crave Crusher, on the other hand, it does have a little bit of L-glutamine in it, but it also has some L-tyrosine. It's got some chromium in it, a couple of vitamin C, vitamin B, all together. It works amazing. Corliss is here. Hello. Hello, Jeanette, too. I'm so glad you're here. It's been a minute, Corliss. Anyway, so cool beans. Do you love that? This is the second, well, this would be the second line of defense, and you take it first thing in the morning. 4 of these, I know it sounds like a lot, and I'm going to tell you what, it is amazing the way that it keeps your cravings at bay all day. So these 2 things together, that's gold. And if you buy 3, I'm going to give you a 4th one for free. So go to savingdinner.com/show. That's where we keep it. All you have to do is click the button, add it to cart. We do all the hard stuff. Okay, cool. Anyway, The other thing you need to know. Cheers, Nancy. I'm glad you're here. Did you see my fresca? This is my fresca that I've made with a little bit of Pellegrino, some chia seeds, and grape water. You need to know about this. I was looking for you. You need to know about this. Delicious and tasty and thirst quenching and killing cravings. I love it. Absolutely. The other thing is, of course, I mix this. I mix Crave water with my hot melt mix in my water bottle when I'm playing pickleball, and I just came from that. You can see how sweaty I am from all of that. It was quite hot out there today. So there you go. Those are some fun things that you need to know about. Our Etsy store, come on point. In that Etsy store, we have all the Full Bloom swag a girl can ask for, like all kinds of great stuff. All you have to do is go to savingdinner.com/Etsy. Go get your swag on, girlfriend. You're going to want the sweatshirt. You're going to want, everything, all the things. And guess who designed it all? You know, Amber. So cool. We also have, as a way of saying thank you to our very loyal customers, friends, family, community, sisters who help support this business, and the people who work for it. By the way, this is a big deal to us. We say thank you to you by anytime you place an order over $300 or over. On the lower 48, we're going to give you free shipping because it means a great deal to us. Yes, it costs us money to do that shipping, but it also says to us that your loyalty, and it says to you, your loyalty means everything to us, and we really appreciate it. Big time. Big time. Have you seen our quote of the week? Susan Jeffers, she just nailed it, didn't she? Feel the fear and do it anyway. Isn't that the way we all live? I have to tell you, that is just, it has to be that way. And when I say feel the fear and do it anyway, I'm going to talk to you who are saying, I don't know about doing these courses that I have, right? Because I have a course coming up in September. We're taking August off and the rest of July. In September, it's the Rising Tide. This is one of the biggest needle moving courses I've ever done. It's 3 weeks. I shouldn't even call it a course. I should call it an intensive, because that's what it is. And all 3 weeks, there's hot seats, there's all kinds of stuff, but we get in granularly, microscopically into your goals and create them, customize them so that they feel right to you. We get into the affirmations, we get into the whole bit. And if you haven't seen this week's show, please go back and watch Monday and Tuesday. They were over there on YouTube, not here on Facebook. So, whatever. I'm cool with that. But this Rising Tide, and there's a lot of people who've done this course and just said, was a game changer for me. Hey, Chris. And it can be for you as well, especially if you're one of these people who say, I've always wanted to do goal. I just can't get my hands around it. This will help. And today's show is really going to help too, because it's Wise Women's Wednesday. We talk about all the good stuff. So Doris is here as well. Good to have you here, Doris. Man, I haven't seen you. I have seen you in a little while. So cheers. Fresca. Love it. Anyway, where were we with all that? So this last Saturday we did Full Bloom again. We, we love to do these Full Blooms, these whole day events. And Full Bloom was all about becoming more than enough and taking that to the next level of understanding that it's essentially our birthright to live a life of abundance. It is. Otherwise, why are we here? We're not here to be poster children of what it's like to have a miserable life. We're here on purpose and for purpose. Let's do the best that we can with what we've got. We need to become vibrant. And one of the ways that we do this, by the way, is by harnessing the power of intentions, of affirmations, and using those to create our goals. And we started that yesterday. Some of this, I'm almost going to repeat what I was talking about yesterday, but I've got a big juicy piece in here that was not in yesterday's. It's going to turn you on. Because your goals are going to always be influenced by the language you use, your intentions, and the affirmations that you practice. And we all practice affirmations in some way. I used to date a guy a long time ago, and he used to say, I am brain dead all the time, brain dead. And after a while, I kind of started believing because he'd forget stuff. And it's almost like he was setting himself up. And the stupid stuff that came out of his mouth made it very clear that he didn't connect the dots very well, right? Why would you say something like that about yourself? That's what we're talking about, because the affirmations that we practice are those that come to fruition. Our reticular activating system is always searching high and low for evidence to support the things you think about and the things you say. And the things that we think about, especially those things on repeat, if it goes into our head and it comes out of our mouths, we're kind of confirming that and underscoring it. Does that hurt? Should sting a little bit, man. It sure did to me. But this is where it gets really juicy and yummy, right? Because we have a brain that is malleable. In other words, we can grow, we can become more, we can respond in different ways. We're not stuck to be just the way we are. We don't have to accept that these are our patterns. We don't have to accept that these are our behaviors. We can look at them, we can analyze them and say, this doesn't work for me. It's just that simple. So when we understand that the neuroplasticity of our brains give us that opportunity to change things up, that's when we need to go just a little bit deeper. And I've got some juicy stuff for you, promise. And you know how I operate with all of these things. I especially love I am affirmations. We have these, by the way, we have these decks. If you want, you can purchase them. These are daily affirmation decks, and they're a little bit different than the quote decks that we have in that they use two very exciting ways of getting into your neuroplasticity and making your reticular activating system wake up and smell the coffee. Okay. And it's using two affirmations that I love and is the strongest ones that I know. I am as your manifesto, as your declaration, who you are and what you're becoming. And then the other thing is, this is a tricky one for your brain of saying, of course I am an athlete training daily. Of course I am a, strong person. Of course I'm fierce, of course, whatever. Of course I am more than enough. And on it goes. And this is what they look. Here's how I suggest you use them. This is a little off. Of course I'm capable of achieving greatness on one side. The other one, I am brimming with confidence. With confidence and self-assuredness. Do you love that? And then what we do is we send you this little stand. And then this little stand is like a little easel. Sits right there in your desk looking at you all day. What do you think that's going to do to your brain? Exactly what you think. It's so amazing. And it's something, the other thing that I really love about saying, of course, is your brain doesn't put up any resistance. Your brain's like, no, of course. Okay, then I'm going to look for that, right? Your brain searches for that and it's game on, baby. It's just game on. Everything starts to change and you start to change and your neuroplasticity starts to change and those neural pathways, bam. You can find those, by the way, at savingdinner.com/affirm. Affirm. AFFIRM. I love them. They're beautiful. They've been designed, of course, by Amber, and they do the trick. They start to get your brain into that place of being malleable. We want malleable. We don't want to be set in our ways. That's old. It's antiquity. We want new. We want new. We want this freshness of new ideas, of goals, of being more than enough, don't we? Always. So when we understand that these affirmations are actually catalysts for the change that we're seeking, then we get a little bit more granular how we're going to be forming these affirmations and using I am very carefully, using it very carefully. I told you about this study that was published in Social Cognitive and Affective Neuroscience that reveals that self affirmation activates the brain's reward center, such as the prefrontal cortex. You feel good about that, right? And if we feel good about something, we're going to end up following through on that. It changes things up quite a bit in a big, big way. And it can help with our outlook. It can help stimulate motivation. It can help our learning, right? We're paying attention. We are absolutely paying attention because you're saying this is what you are. If that's what you are, then your reticular activating system is out looking for it to bring it into you. It's our filtration system. We all have this. You know this, and you've experienced it yourself. If you're sitting here going, I don't know about that. If you've ever said, I want to buy a red Prius or whatever the car is that you've wanted, and then all of a sudden you start seeing them all over the road, that's your reticular activating system. Creating, looking for that evidence. You planted that seed, and that's what your brain's looking for out on the road. Suddenly you start seeing them all over the place. Were they not there before? Yes, they were. You just didn't notice. This is our reticular activating system in action. And this is what we're trying to activate, is that. We do this with I ams. We also do it with of course, because of course doesn't have any resistance at all tied to it. Isn't that so cool? It's very positive. It's present tense, which is what it needs to be. And it makes us pay attention. Now, here's something interesting. This guy, his name is Dr. Michael Merzenich. He is the neuroscientist who really dug deep on neuroplasticity. And what his claim to fame would be was several years ago, he came out with this idea. Remember, we all thought that we all had a fixed mindset, fixed intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, not true, not true. As a matter of fact, your brain is capable of change throughout your life, So, we used to use that as an excuse. Oh, I'm just fixed in my ways. This is just the way it is. No, not at all. Not according to this research. So he came up with some strategies, which I thought were really great to help you to really dig into your own neuroplasticity and help it to develop further. It's kind of like putting your neuroplasticity on steroids a little bit. So number one is your focused attention. Now, what we focus on grows and expands, and that becomes our destiny, doesn't it? We know that. We've experienced that. So whatever it is that you're giving your brain to learn, or whatever habits you want to form, if you give these tasks your full attention, guess what happens? Guess what happens? That helps to 10x your efforts. Of course it does. I mean, all of this stuff makes sense. I'm talking about goal setting all this week because I want to see you end the year brilliantly. I want to see you, even if you're sitting here, it's way past the middle and saying, yeah, it's just been kind of one of those years. Don't settle. We can change this up. Our neuroplasticity will allow us to do that. Number one. And number two, we have methodologies to get you there. Truly. Number two is repetition and practice. Have you noticed? That just makes such a difference in the world. If you lift weights, you know that repetition and practice makes you stronger. If you lift weights, then you know that you have to do this, right? You have to be able to connect the dots on that behavior becoming a habit. And this is how we build those neural pathways. It's just with repetition and practice. Showing up when you don't want to, that's a big deal. And it's also, you need to high five yourself and congratulate yourself for doing that too, because you want to reinforce that you did the right thing, even though it was hard. Those are just some of the things. And the other thing is the progression difficulty. We have to have progressive difficulty. So we have to start with tasks that are well within our reach. You might have to start, if you're starting to lift weights, little cute pink weights that you're getting. Oh, they're just so easy. But we have to progress. You want to build that muscle, then you need to pick up heavier weights and heavier weights and heavier weights as you get used to the stronger, the heavier weight. That's just how we progress. This is the same kind of a deal as we're doing these different tasks, you know? I can tell you the stories, 100 stories about pickleball, all the things that you have to do and the things that you have to remember while you're out there on the court. And the things you have to, in order to progress, you have to master and learn and drill, right? These are these are the things that make all the difference in the world. And then the next thing is the real life application, because you have to practice this in real life, not just in theory, not just writing it down, not talking about it, but actually doing it. You know, I can't tell you about having a good serve if I don't practice my good serve. I can't tell you how to return long if I haven't practiced on how to return long. And you have to apply this lesson into what it is that you're doing. All of these things help. And the more likely these changes become part of your regular's brain functioning by this real life application, by progressive difficulty and repetitive movement, repetitive doing. In pickleball, what we say is we want muscle memory, you know? So I will tell you, if you've ever, I don't know how many pickleball matches you've ever seen, if you've ever seen any, but here's what I've seen, right? When I first started playing, I remember watching people go back and forth, this like volleying really hard. Like if your paddle wasn't up, that ball would go thwack and hit you right in the chest. And at first, I had a lot of balls in the chest. And then I started learning how to hold my paddle. And then I learned how to be a part of that, not just defending myself, but to also be aggressive and hit it like that. So cool. Because you know what that did? It gave me muscle memory, and I got it. It was the repetitive motion of doing it and doing and doing it. Working with a ball machine, I mean, when I worked with Mark, I worked with all kinds of women on the court to get these skill sets down. I've got tons more. It seems like there's always just something more to do. But this is how it is with anything. And I will tell you, the thing that's so cool is something that seemed untenable a month ago is now part of the regular process. This is your neuroplasticity at work, by the way. Not just for pickleball, not just for, eating healthier or exercise or anything like that, but anything that it is that you want to develop. Anything. Because that's what are goals anyway, except a journey to get to a result that you want. Right? And what does that do? That gives we have this idea, this notion of what it is that we want to attain, and then we have all these steps that we need to do in order to get there. And usually it's things to do every single day. And if we do that and keep following through with that, the next thing that we know is that we master it, and it just becomes a part of who we are. Goal met, man. Even if the epitome of the goal isn't yet met or a certain number or whatever it is, but just to be able to build these things into our lifestyle helps to create the behavior change and the habit changes that you're looking for. And doesn't it make you feel good? I mean, I think so. The other thing that this Merzenich found is that when you believe in your ability to change and improve, that is part of your brain training, because we're training our brains right there. Being positive and having this outlook that, yes, I can do that. It looks hard right now. However, I am up for it. I can do this. I can do hard things. Of course I can do hard things. I am a warrior. That was my mantra today on the pickleball court, because I wanted to make sure that I played my very, very best game, because sometimes I'll just get distracted. I'm thinking about all kinds of things. I'm thinking about work or whatever. I drive there, I get there, and, then I'm just hitting, and I'm thinking, this is just a crappy game. And it's me who's being crappy. And it's because my focus isn't there. So if I pull out my IMs and start thinking, of course I'm a warrior. Of course I'm going to hit that ball right. Of course I know what to do here. It changes everything. And this is what we need to do. And this is all based on research. You know what else he said? Your healthy lifestyle is the supporting character, your fuel. You, if you are eating inflammatory food, you're going to inflame your brain, and your brain is not going to help you out. Your brain at that point is going to say, let's cave to the crave every single time. Let's stay up late and just doom scroll on our phones. Let's get into it with our Aunt Mildred over here, who's, we just never agree with anything, but go ahead, be a part of that whole thing on Facebook and keep, duking it out with Aunt Mildred and having her make you mad. You see where I'm going with all of this. When we lose our way and we allow this inflammatory type behavior, from food to not exercising to, not getting adequate sleep and then engaging in stressful behaviors, we are going to find ourselves in a world of hurt. And we cannot contribute to our optimal brain health if we're continually bringing it down. There's a lot of things that we do with a knife and fork. It's terrible. His research shows that changes in the brain don't happen overnight. Duh. It takes a minute to build a neural pathway, doesn't it? But the thing that we need to know is those neural pathways are there for us to create the life that we want. That's what they're for. We have this so that we can habituate a lot of this stuff, so that we can make it a part of an integral part of who we are. That's everything. Then it's just who we are. It's just how we flow. It's all the things. So then we just take it a step further. I'm just going to repeat a little bit of what I said yesterday, and using IMs for goal setting. When we do that, we are declaring who we are. We're putting it down. We're throwing it down and saying, this is who we are. I had a real hard time with this. I shared this a little bit, that I said, when I was starting my whole fitness journey, I guess it's been 2 years now, right? But when I was starting that, I had like stop and starts, and I was all over the place. But when I started with I am an athlete, and just really embraced that, instead of fighting that, I understood that I am becoming this woman simply by embracing the behaviors of an athlete. I might not have looked like an athlete. I might not have behaved 100% as an athlete, but I understood what that meant. And that's when I started putting down these things, because I am statements are potent and they are juicy, and your brain understands it, that pays attention. When we use the mirror work that we were talking about and start calling ourselves by name and looking ourselves in the eye, what do you think that does? That also jars us into looking at our very own souls and saying, this is what I'm about. This is what I want, So all of these I am affirmations are not only are they going to foster a positive mindset, but they're going to help us to internalize these behaviors that we want. And then we add in, we add in the affirmations, but we also need to know that it all has to be underlined with intention of what it is that we plan on following through with, having our actions go with, and all the rest of it. And we talked about 3 things yesterday, if you remember, if you were a part of our YouTube only video. But we talked about artistic affirmations, wearable reminders, and kinesthetic affirmations. So the first one, artistic affirmations, is like Patsy's lovely little cross points where she gave me this I am an athlete. These affirmations are reminders and kind of mementos, and, put it in the ground and say, this is it. This is my cornerstone. All of these are, they deepen your impact, the impact of what it is that you're trying to do, because you have something else that's there as a reminder. Same with the wearing of jewelry that even says, I am, or whatever it is. You've seen Tanya's necklace that says Tanya Strong, because I started hashtagging her Tanya Strong. She made that into a necklace and wears it. That's her way of reinforcing this every single day. And then don't forget, you can do this with movement as well. Some people do it with, doing like a yoga flow or some kind of a thing like that, even dance. I do it with walking, and it's part of my gratitude practice and part of what I do with my dog. And, I only walk a few miles a day. I'm not a big walker, but I'm out there, I'm taking my dog, and this is what we do. So what do we need the strategies then for all of this is, number one is to personalize your affirmations. Make sure, get deep into it, do the mirror, look into your eyes, call yourself by name. You always hear your name, and your main name means something for you. Make sure that your goals resonate personally with you, right? You're not doing my goals, you're doing your goals. Always. Not your mom's goals, not your sister's goals, not your best friend who thinks you should do this. You should do this. Should doesn't belong in a goal statement, by the way, ever. 2, maintain your positivity, because your positivity is the thing that's going to light this thing on fire. We don't go anywhere with a low vibe, right? We want high vibes. High vibes mean that we are positive. Keep that in mind. 3 is consistent practice. Repetition, anyone? And doing it consistently is going to light you up, as well as visualizing and embodying this whole thing. I want you to just understand, though, that it's leveraging your own brain is leveraging your neuroplasticity. It's understanding how to use this. It's making use of this so that your goals don't just end up in another notebook, thrown into a bookshelf and forgotten about. It's to change things over so that you at last enjoy the progress and the journey of completing a goal. And when you do this, you're going to find that you are lit up and excited about this whole thing. And this is why we're doing that 3-week intensive and it starts, by the way, September 26th. You have plenty of time. If you need to do a 3-part pay or whatever, we can help you with that. Just send an email into support@savingdinner.com. But the point of the matter is that if you get into the weeds of what it is that you truly desire, you feel the emotional angst of the whole thing, you feel on top of the world, because if you complete that, this is going to open the door to everything. And we're going to talk about keystone goals tomorrow, by the way. Don't miss that. And those are going to, that's going to be really fun talking about that. But if we get into that, we are going to crush our goals. We're going to become women who just say, yep, these are my goals. And yep, this is how I'm going to get it done. And yep, at the end of 12 weeks, say, they're done. I did it. And what's next? And that's my heart for you. So if you want to get in on the rising tide, don't forget, time is of the essence, because we do have limited seats, and we have a brand new workbook that's going to come with them that are just for your goals. And you can find all this information out at savingdinner.com/rise. I almost said tide again. savingdinner.com/rise. And if you need all the announcements, that's at savingdinner.com/announcements. Oh, and by the way, don't let me forget. Thank you, Jenny. We have a Hot Melt Sprint coming up. Go to savingdinner.com/sprint webinar if you want to sign up. It's a new webinar. Haven't done it before. We're revamping all of our webinars, so you're going to want to be there. That's this Monday, July 31st at 7 p.m. Eastern. Okay? savingdinner.com/sprint webinar. All one word at the end. Peace be with you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.